Imagine a galaxy teetering on the edge of war. Two powerful civilizations locked in a cold conflict, neither willing to strike first, yet both prepared for annihilation. The fate of trillions hanging by a thread. And then, in one fateful moment, a single human decision changed the course of history, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. Was it an act of courage, a mistake, or something far more calculated? To understand the gravity of this moment, we must first look at the political landscape of the Milky Way before humanity even entered the picture. The two dominant powers were the Vorn Dominion and the Zelnari Ascendancy, ancient superpowers that had ruled for thousands of years. Their rivalry was deeply entrenched, an endless game of diplomacy, espionage, and proxy wars fought through lesser civilizations. Neither side wanted to risk total war, fearing the unimaginable destruction that would follow. And yet, as tensions escalated, all it would take was one spark to set the galaxy ablaze. Then, humans arrived on the galactic stage. Unlike most species, who were discovered and assimilated slowly, humanity burst onto the scene with unmatched unpredictability. They were stubborn, ambitious, and most of all, they refused to play by the rules. The Vorn and Zelnari saw Earth as an insignificant backwater, a minor civilization that could be used as a pawn in their grand chessboard of war. But humanity had its own plans. At first, Earth's entrance into interstellar politics was marked by caution. Humans were technologically behind, possessing none of the advanced weaponry or hyper-efficient industries of their galactic neighbors. However, what they lacked in technology, they made up for in adaptability, creativity, and sheer audacity. As the two empires vied for control over Earth's allegiance, something unexpected happened. Humans refused to choose a side. Instead, they navigated the growing conflict with a strategy no one had anticipated. They played both sides. This delicate balance, however, could not last forever. The moment came when a critical decision had to be made. A choice that one human leader would be forced to make. An ultimatum that could either ignite the largest war the galaxy had ever seen, or rewrite the rules of interstellar power forever. The impossible choice. The warning came through encrypted channels. An assassination plot was in motion. The target? The Supreme Chancellor of the Zelnari Ascendancy. The suspected perpetrator? The Vorn Dominion. If the attempt succeeded, the Zelnari would have no choice but to retaliate, and war would erupt across hundreds of star systems. Billions, perhaps trillions, would die in the crossfire. The message reached the highest levels of Earth's leadership. The United Earth Council had no official alliances, yet this crisis threatened to pull humanity into a war it wasn't ready for. And then, a top-level intelligence officer, a single human with clearance to make split-second executive decisions, was faced with a question no one could answer. Should Earth intervene? The rational choice was to stay out of it. Humanity's forces were nowhere near capable of matching the military might of the Vorn or the Zelnari. Getting involved could mean the immediate destruction of Earth. And yet, doing nothing meant millions of innocent lives would be lost in the opening days of war. The consequences of inaction were just as horrifying as the risks of stepping in. After intense deliberation, a decision was made. Earth would act, but not through open warfare. Instead, a covert mission was launched. A team of elite human operatives, trained in tactics that no alien military had ever encountered, would infiltrate the Vorn Dominion's intelligence network and stop the assassination before it could happen. It was a gamble of epic proportions. The mission was risky, borderline suicidal. Humans had never gone toe-to-toe with the Dominion's elite security before. Failure would mean exposure, proof that humanity had interfered in an intergalactic power struggle it had no place in. But if they succeeded, they could prevent a war before it even began. And so, in the cold void of space, as two ancient superpowers unknowingly edged toward destruction, a small human task force embarked on a mission that would decide the future of the galaxy. The mission that defied fate. The strike team consisted of 6 individuals, each chosen for their unique expertise. There was the infiltration specialist, the master hacker, the combat strategist, each one handpicked to face a challenge no human had ever attempted before. Their objective? Infiltrate the Vorn Dominion's most secure intelligence facility, extract proof of the assassination plot, and disrupt it before it could be carried out. Disguised as mercenaries, the team entered Dominion-controlled space aboard a stolen cargo freighter. Every detail had to be perfect: the fake identities, the fabricated credentials, the silent weapons designed to evade alien security scans. One mistake, and they would be executed on the spot. The deeper they infiltrated, the clearer the picture became. The Vorn were not just plotting the assassination. They had already mobilized entire battle fleets, ready to strike once the Zelnari retaliated. This was no simple power move. It was a premeditated coup to seize control of the galaxy in one swift, brutal war. The team had to act fast, using advanced human hacking techniques, methods the Vorn had never encountered. They breached the security mainframe and broadcasted the truth across the galactic network. Within moments, the Zelnari ascendancy received undeniable proof of the plot. The assassination was called off, and the Dominion's plan was exposed before it could unfold. But the mission wasn't over yet. The humans still had to escape. The Dominion was scrambling to shut them down, security forces converging on their location. As alarms blared, they fought their way through corridors, outmaneuvering enemy patrols, using tactics no alien military had ever seen before. Finally, just as the facility's defenses locked down, the team exfiltrated in a stolen Vorn ship, vanishing into hyperspace. Against all odds, they had succeeded, and in doing so, they had changed the course of history. Humanity's rise to power, the revelation of the Dominion's treachery, shattered the balance of power. The Zelnari ascendancy, now fully aware of their enemy's intentions, moved swiftly to counteract the Dominion's schemes. Meanwhile, the galactic community, stunned by humanity's unexpected interference, began re-evaluating Earth's place in the cosmic order. The Vorn Dominion was humiliated, their carefully laid plans, undone by a species they had dismissed as insignificant. But instead of retaliating, they found themselves in a precarious position. The Dominion relied on secrecy and deception, but now, exposed before the entire galaxy, their authority wavered. Other civilizations, once terrified of their influence, began challenging their rule, and at the heart of it all was humanity. No longer a mere pawn, Earth had demonstrated something that neither the Vorn nor the Zelnari had expected: an ability to disrupt the grandest of schemes with nothing but ingenuity, courage, and sheer willpower. In a matter of weeks, the entire political landscape of the Milky Way had shifted. And humanity? They had gone from a minor species to a rising power that could no longer be ignored. And yet, this was only the beginning. The galaxy was never the same after that fateful mission. The Vorn Dominion, once feared and untouchable, had been humiliated on a galactic scale. The Zelnari ascendancy, saved from a devastating war, owed humanity a debt they could never fully repay. But what truly changed everything wasn't just the failure of the assassination plot. It was the realization of humanity's true potential. Before this event, Earth had been a minor player, a civilization, on the fringes of interstellar affairs. Humans were seen as adaptable, but insignificant, a species still learning the ways of the stars. But now, they were something else entirely: a force of disruption, a wild card, a species capable of altering the fate of empires with nothing but intelligence, audacity, and sheer defiance of expectation. As the news of the incident spread, the galactic community took notice. Dozens of neutral civilizations, some of whom had lived in fear of the Dominion's power, began seeking alliances with Earth. Trade agreements, research collaborations, military pacts. Suddenly, humanity was being courted by species that had never given them a second thought before. But while the diplomatic world shifted, the Vorn Dominion was far from finished. Their leaders, humiliated and enraged, knew that their reputation had taken a severe blow. However, a full-scale retaliation against humanity was too risky. The Zelnari, now watching closely, had openly declared their support for Earth. Any direct attack on humans would be seen as an act of war. So, instead of war, the Vorn turned to subterfuge. Across the galaxy, whispers of human manipulation and untrustworthiness began to spread. Propaganda campaigns painted Earth as an opportunistic civilization, a species that had meddled in affairs far beyond their station. Some factions, particularly those allied with the Dominion, believed the narrative. But others saw the truth. For the first time in recorded history, a species had proven that galactic politics were not immutable, that ancient empires were not untouchable, that intelligence, cunning, and sheer determination could alter the very fabric of interstellar power, and that species was humanity. But even as Earth celebrated its newfound influence, there were those in the shadows who plotted revenge. The game had changed, but the war for the future of the galaxy had only just begun. Humanity's rise had been meteoric, but power always comes with consequences. While Earth forged new alliances and expanded its influence, the Vorn Dominion worked tirelessly to undermine humanity's standing. Their failure to start a war had cost them dearly, but they were masters of deception, and they had no intention of letting a young, upstart species go unpunished. At first, the attacks were subtle. Trade deals between Earth and its newfound allies began to fall apart mysteriously. A human diplomat en route to a peace summit was found dead in his chambers, his body staged to look like an accident. Crucial spaceports handling Earth's interstellar commerce suddenly experienced catastrophic malfunctions, leading to economic disruptions. The message was clear. Humanity's place in the galaxy was not welcome. The United Earth Council knew that these were not coincidences. The Dominion was orchestrating a silent war, one fought in the shadows rather than on the battlefield. But how could humanity fight back? They lacked the military might of the ancient empires, the espionage networks of the Dominion, or the vast political reach of the Zelnari. If Earth made a wrong move, they would be crushed before they could truly establish themselves as a galactic power. But humans were nothing if not resourceful. Instead of responding with brute force, Earth chose a different path, one the Dominion had never expected. Instead of retaliating with violence, they leveraged something far more powerful than war: information. Human intelligence agencies, having studied Dominion tactics for years, turned their own methods against them. Advanced AI-driven analysis uncovered patterns in Dominion propaganda, exposing covert operations that even the Vorn had believed to be undetectable. Key Dominion agents operating under false identities were outed in real time, their carefully crafted personas ripped apart in front of the entire galactic community. And then came the masterstroke. Using intercepted Dominion communications, Earth's cyber warfare divisions hacked into one of the Dominion's most classified data vaults. What they found was a treasure trove of evidence, not just of the failed assassination plot, but of dozens of covert operations spanning centuries. These files implicated the Dominion in countless acts of sabotage, political manipulation, and outright war crimes, secrets they had buried deep, believing them to be safe forever. The decision was made. Earth would not hold on to this information for leverage. Instead, they broadcast it to the entire galaxy. The fallout was catastrophic for the Vorn Dominion. Within hours, Dominion allies began distancing themselves. Civilizations that had once feared the Dominion turned against them, outraged by the revelations. Even within the Dominion itself, factions arose questioning their leadership, fracturing the once unified empire. What had once been an unstoppable galactic power was now crumbling from within. And humanity? They had won a war without firing a single shot. But as history has always shown, the most dangerous enemy is one with nothing left to lose. The final stand when the Dominion brought hell to Earth. The Dominion had been wounded, but a wounded beast is the most dangerous of all. The galaxy may have turned against them, but they still had their military might, and they were prepared to use it. If they could not destroy humanity politically, they would eradicate them physically. And so, they came for Earth. The attack was sudden and brutal. A Dominion fleet, larger than anything humanity had ever faced, appeared in the Sol system, bypassing Earth's early warning defenses with experimental cloaking technology. The Dominion's goal was not occupation. It was not negotiation. It was total annihilation. Earth's orbital defenses, still young compared to the ancient fleets of the galaxy, were shattered within minutes. Massive plasma bombardments reduced space stations to dust, while planetary defense cannons scrambled to respond. For the first time in history, the war had arrived on humanity's doorstep. But Earth would not go down without a fight. Humanity had spent decades preparing for the possibility of war. Though they lacked the sheer numbers of the Dominion, they had developed strategic advantages no alien empire had ever seen. Advanced AI-controlled defense grids, drone swarms capable of overwhelming even the mightiest warships, and above all, a species that refused to surrender. As Dominion dropships descended toward Earth's surface, they were met with resistance that defied all expectations. Human pilots, outnumbered 5-1, used unpredictable, high-risk maneuvers that Dominion fleets couldn't counter. Infantry forces deployed exosuit-enhanced soldiers, capable of taking on Dominion warriors in direct combat, something no other species had ever attempted. The battle raged across the planet, from the ruins of shattered cities to the cold vacuum of Earth's orbit. And then, the unexpected happened. Just as it seemed the Dominion might overwhelm Earth's defenses, the Zelnari Ascendancy entered the battle. Their fleets, once hesitant to act, warped into the Sol system, flanking the Dominion forces. In a single decisive moment, the tide turned. The Dominion fleet, caught between Earth's relentless defense and the Zelnari reinforcements, fell apart. Flagships were destroyed, commanders were forced to retreat, and what was meant to be the final blow against humanity became the defining moment of their rise. And as the Dominion fleet retreated, humiliated, broken, and on the brink of collapse, one truth became undeniable. Humanity was here to stay, the legacy of a single decision. The war ended that day, but its consequences would echo for centuries to come. The Dominion, once the greatest power in the galaxy, had been crippled beyond repair. Many of its worlds rebelled, breaking away from their once unshakable grip. The galactic order had been shattered, and a new power had risen in its place. Not through conquest, not through oppression, but through cunning, resilience, and the refusal to be controlled. Humanity, once dismissed as insignificant, now stood among the stars as equals. They had proven themselves not just as warriors, but as strategists, diplomats, and survivors. No longer pawns in the games of the ancients, they had rewritten the rules entirely, and all of it, every single moment, had been set in motion by one human decision. One moment in time. One choice in the face of the impossible. And the galaxy would never be the same again. Final thought. So, what does this story tell us? Is history shaped by the most powerful civilizations? Or by the bold decisions of individuals who refuse to accept the fate handed to them? Imagine, if this happened to us, in real life, in the distant future, would we rise to the challenge? Or would we fade into obscurity? The answer to that question might one day shape the stars themselves.